Hello and welcome to the Hacks and Knits channel. My name is Deanna. I'm a master knitter living in the Rhineland-Pfalz region of Germany. I am so excited to be here and talking to you today. As my viewers know, my husband and I just moved here from our home of 7 years in Okinawa, Japan, and we are still in the stages of getting settled. We have finally received all of our furniture and goods, and we're starting to unpack, but by no means have I settled my setup, finished all the unpacking, all of those things. I'm in fact feeling quite a bit disorganized and a little undermotivated to record lately. So hopefully you guys will forgive me. You know how it goes. Your interest and your motivation, it ebbs, it flows. But I'm excited to be here with you today because I've been up to so much yarny stuff. What do I have? I have so much. Okay, so first I've got new works in progress, new finished items, a couple of fun little stash items, and I had the opportunity this week to go to some of the Christmas markets over in Wiesbaden in Germany and visit another YouTuber's yarn shop. I'm so excited. Let's get started. So first things first, just a little bit of life stuff. I am back on night shift. So longtime viewers of my channel know I have a day job that keeps me gainfully employed. I work as a nurse, and as part of that job, I rotate between day and night shift every few months, usually every 3 to 4 months, and I am back on nights, which is exciting for me because it gives me lots of extra time to knit and craft and tinker while the rest of my house is asleep. So everyone goes to bed and I have the whole night to do what I want to do. I do keep pretty much to a night shift schedule when I'm on nights because I'm bad at switching. So we're back on nights, we're back to recording. Hopefully you're all as excited as I am about it. So let's just jump right into my finished objects this week because I have had this particular pattern in my queue for the longest time, so I'm super excited to show it to you. Check these guys out. So these are the CHIMERA mittens. And this pattern's really sweet because you can use them either as fingerless gloves, or you can go on and knit the top to the mittens to them. It's a sneaky little pattern, lots of advanced skills used in it, but totally doable. Probably my favorite detail, it'll be hard for you to see, but there is just the littlest hint of a cable right here, and it makes this opening just really nice. So one of my pet peeves, okay, is when a pattern has a divide but they don't do any planning there. They just literally knit and then divide into two pieces, because what happens is right here at this join you get this kind of like ladder between the two stitches. It infuriates me, especially when I see it in like V-necks or, you know, all the sweaters with the split hems now. So that was just a little moment of joy when I saw this clever little teeny tiny bit of a cable right there where the thumb hole opens and joins. So super cute pattern. This yarn, I showed it to you in my last episode, but I'll pull some out right now. This yarn, all right, can you read that? Is that backwards on your screen? I got this yarn during one of my recent trips down to Switzerland. This is from a yarn mill there. Not just a yarn mill, they produce all sorts of woolen products. I saw lots of blankets and clothing and shirts and socks and yarn and spinning fiber and all the things you love when you visit wool mills. But this is Naturwollgarn, and it is, let's see, 100 grams, 100% Rhineschurwolle. Yep, that's what it is. It's, I would call it a heavy worsted weight yarn. I bought 3 skeins of it, so I actually have quite a bit left over that needs to find a plan for it. But these guys have been in my queue for a million years, and I am super duper excited to be done with them. What a quick knit. If you ever need just a super fast, almost instant gratification knit, like a small accessory in a worsted weight or heavier yarn will just do it for you. I have just about the teeniest hands. I have to buy most of my gloves and stuff in the little boys department. So these fit me pretty well. They're a little bit big. I probably could have, gauge swatched and done some fiddling, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to cast them on and knit them, and they work well enough. And if they didn't work well enough, they would have been Christmas presents. They would have been Christmas presents. So that is what is on my finished object pile this week. Not very much. I know. I'm very sorry. It is what it is. Life has been hectic here. Hectic is a good thing. I feel like I have been sick every day since I arrived in Germany, or I've been well and just wanting to explore, and so I'm not resting at all. So I feel very exhausted, very tired, and then this switch over from days to nights just really did it in. So I haven't been doing that much knitting. I found a lot of days I've just been like sitting in my chair doing nothing when I have time off. So it's nice to be back knitting, nice to be back recording. I'm hoping in a couple of days I'll feel a little better than I feel right now, because my husband and I have been pretty sick. Not COVID. I guess that's a done thing, but I'm surprised it was not COVID. Both of us were having trouble breathing and having trouble walking up the stairs, and lost all of our sense of smell and taste, and all of the gross things that sound a lot like COVID, but is not testing for COVID. So oh well, we are getting better now. I'm going to reach around the camera here and show you some of my works in progress. So as you guys know, I have been working on the Divide pullover, which is an absolutely beautiful pullover. I'm going to reach down here to my project bag. This is a knit from the bottom up, knit flat and constructed in pieces. It consists of a 1x1 twisted rib, or maybe a half twisted rib, so you're only twisting the knit stitches, and lots and lots and lots of 1x1 cables. So hopefully you can see what's happening here. I'll try to insert some pictures of the actual pattern itself, but the back of this is done. You can see I don't always do this, but my brain could not handle the decreases. So I have those little dental rubber bands that I just knit straight into the pattern whenever I made a decrease. I'll have to cut those out later. Normally I don't do this because I kind of feel wasteful, like it's a one-time use thing and then you have to cut away and throw away all these rubber pieces. But these are legit actual little dental things that were left over from when I had braces as a teenager. So I don't feel so bad about it, but that's how it goes. Anyway, so that is the back of that pattern. I do have a little bit of the front done. I actually had quite a bit of it done and then frogged it, which is always a little bit, you kind of want to cry about it when you're knitting on such a big piece that's so intricate. But I made a mistake pretty early on. Ooh, I have a sneaky stitch that tried to slip off the needle. I'm just going to catch that right now and fix it later. Anyway, so I had about 6 inches of this done, and early on I made a mistake, and that was I was not the 1x1 rib. It was knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. I started somehow with a purl 1, knit 1, which wouldn't have been a big deal. I was just kind of fudging it and going along with it. But the more I fudged it, the funnier it started to look, especially on the areas where the pattern starts to diverge and move. And I just said, you know what, no, I want it right. So I pulled all of it back and started again. And so this is where I am now. There you go. You can see my stitch markers here for all of the pattern turnovers. There are quite a few in this pattern. Loving knitting on this pattern. I will say it's, what do I want to say about this pattern? How do I say this nicely? To me, it's a little confusing. There's a lot of charts and you're kind of moving back and forth between the charts, and the way you're worded, like at some point another chart starts to drop on top of the same chart, so you're sort of half doing one chart, half doing another chart, but you have to figure it out as you go. It's an advanced pattern, and so not recommended for my beginner knitters in my audience. It's certainly doable, and I'm enjoying knitting on it, and I think I'm going to really enjoy the finished product. I can speak today. But yes, so there's my warning. It's an advanced level project, not for the new knitters in the room. What else do I have? I hesitate to call this a work in progress because I haven't actually cast it on, but I've spent the last, couple of hours here digging through my stash and planning a project out. Let me pull it up on my screen right now so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the Fair Isle cap. Jamieson and Smith published it. It was a pattern that was recreated from a historical cap that was in the Shetland Museum collection. And I have been wanting to knit this forever. I don't know why I've never cast it on, but I'm here and I needed a break from that divide pullover because that pullover is going to take a while. And so I decided, let's go stash diving. Let's figure out what we can do to make this pattern happen. And of course, if you're looking at this on the screen right now, it is knit all in Jamieson and Smith yarn, which I have plenty of. I have no shortage of it. I also have Jamieson and Smith and Jamiesons, these Shetland Spindrifts. Both of them I have in abundance in my house. I have kind of a hoarding mentality with these yarns, and when I see colors I don't already own, I get more. And then I bought a big old giant case box of all sorts of colors not too long ago. So it would make sense to knit this hat in those yarns, but I'm not. Why? I don't know. Because I have other yarn, I guess. So digging through the stash, I had some of the Marie Wallen's British breeds. I bought this from the Woolly Thistle, which is a yarn shop that I absolutely love. They have also a YouTube channel, and they do lots of giveaways and gift cards on their channel if you watch and participate. And so I highly recommend going and checking over their channel. But the Woolly Thistle shop based in the US does only like woolly yarns. So they really focus on natural fibers. You're not going to find a lot of superwash or nylon or acrylic or things like that in their shop. You will find some superwash, but like I said, really focus on the woolly yarns and the animal fiber yarns. And I bought some of these. I talked about it a little bit before the holidays, I think last year. It's been a while now, but they do kind of like shop sampler boxes where they have some of their favorite yarns that they stock that they put in as a sampler box, and you get them. And I decided instead of actually buying the whole box, I would just buy myself a sampler of yarn from them, heavily inspired by the box that they were putting on. And this was one of the purchases. So this is going to be, well, I thought this was going to be my color combination for this hat, but I think I'm going to sub out this sort of peat brown with this brighter red by Jamieson. So that's Jamieson Shetland Spindrift. If the tag is correct, this is the madder color, which is the color the pattern calls for. And then these two, I am replacing the Jamieson and Smith Indigo with the Marie Wallen Woad and the Marie Wallen Quince, which I think is their, I don't know if it's replacing the old gold or the peat, but that's the plan. So those are the yarns. I will be casting that on shortly. As best I can tell, these are pretty much identical interchangeable yarns. They're the same weight, they're the same grams. I don't know if Marie Wallen produced these to be sort of a competition for the Jamieson and Smith, but these ones are a little bit softer, I have to admit. I'm excited to knit with them. I've never knit with them before. So that is the plan for the main color palette. And then this hat has a big lining inside. And so for the white, this does not look impressive. My ball winder is not unpacked yet, so I'm hand winding yarn. But this is Cashmere and Lambswool. Come on, how can you not love Cashmere? So the yarn is, oh, I love to read these. Hold on. 12.5% Cashmere, 87.5% Lambswool from Scotland, from a family-owned fiber mill, in a beautiful, natural, and scoured quality for your dreamy knitting products. I am excited to cast on with this because I love cashmere, and I'm a little bit nervous because this is just a hint finer than the rest of my yarn, but I'm hoping that the cashmere quality will make a difference over time. So yarns with cashmere in them, kind of the more you knit with them, the more you handle them, they fluff a little bit and can fill in a little bit of the gap in thickness, and you're really not going to be able to tell this with me holding it up, but just trust me that this lower one is just a hint thicker and might come with a little bit of a different gauge. So a little bit of cashmere to make this hat extra dreamy, extra snuggly, and then the hat is fully lined, so I'm excited. I'll see if I can find a project picture where they have it all the way pulled open, but because it's fully lined, it makes it like 3 feet long or something like that when you knit it. And I was digging through my stash thinking, what could I put on the inside liner to make it nice and soft? Because to me, these yarns, the Shetland Spindrift, the Jamieson and Smith, and the Jamieson yarns, they're a little bit itchy when you wear them on your forehead. And they bother me a little bit. So I say that like it's a big revelation. Guys, wool is sometimes itchy and people have preferences and want soft things. But I had a little bit of this yarn left over, which again, does not look all that exciting. But this is some Northlight fiber, and it's also a cashmere blend that I use to knit a beautiful cowl. I will pop a picture in right here and put the pattern name in. But this was a kit that I purchased at Stitches West when I went several years ago, and the unfortunate news is that cowl got lost. I believe it fell off me during an international flight or got dropped out of my bag in an airport during my trip, actually my vacation to Germany that I took a few years ago. And I do have just a little bit of this yarn left over, so I thought this would be a nice lining for the inside of that hat to make it nice and snuggly. If this isn't enough, I think it will be. I have some more cashmere. So, you know, viewers of my channel already know this about me, but if there's cashmere in the yarn, I'm just going to tell you it's cashmere yarn, even if it's like 0.1% cashmere, because I like it. I like knitting with it. It's soft. You know, it's my thing. So let me tell you what this yarn is. This bright green yarn may become the inside lining of my hat, because who cares what color the inside lining is? No one's going to see it. But this yarn is Flying Goat Farm, and it is a mix of 70% alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. And this is deep stash. So I have had this in my stash for years and years and years. I'm fairly certain it came to me in like a knitting subscription box. I don't know if it was Knit Crate or something like that. I heard Knit Crate was going away, going out of business, which I'm sad about. But I used to, early in my knitting, buy a lot of these monthly subscriptions. I did another one for spinning yarn too. And I found that I got a lot of things that I had no plan for, and they just sat in my stash for a really long time. I would be willing to bet this has been in my stash for 10 plus years. So I think it's time to make something out of it, because it really is a beautiful yarn. It just wasn't quite the color that I normally wear. I like me some greens, but I tend to be more of a olive drab than a seafoam or something like that. So that's on my whips, I think. Oh man, the knitting has been a little bit light. I'm really sad to say that I haven't found all of my yarn yet. I've been unpacking, and I will put in a little video right here, because I did a little time lapse of me, you know, doing the things you do when you move. You unpack your yarn, you organize it, you make plans. But there is a large box of Knit Picks palette that has not emerged from the knitting boxes yet. And I'm starting to get nervous. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because I don't know where it is. Hopefully it's still in some of the boxes that are left to be unpacked, and I didn't throw it up in the attic thinking it was a box of stuff that I didn't need down in the house. It is what it is. You know, I'm moving. It's fine. Okay, let's move on to my stash enhancement. It sounds very like official. I am not an official person. One of my coworkers very, very kindly bought me some yarn. I want to like cry a little bit because I'm so touched that I just got here and I barely, I'm still sort of meeting my coworkers and getting to know them. I haven't even worked a shift with all of them yet, and yet they already know that yarn is the thing that I am obsessed with. And so I was very touched when one of my coworkers came back from a trip she went to Norway with a little ball of yarn for me. And it's nice yarn. I'm so excited. Okay, this is another yarn where I'm probably not going to try to pronounce it for you because Norwegian is really tricky and I am really bad at it. But I have worked out that this is 70% Angora, and then the remainder part is a rare sheep breed. Here we go. I'm just going to point at it and not try to pronounce it. So apparently this particular breed of sheep is from Norway, and there's something like less than 500 of them currently in breeding production. So I'm super excited to try to knit with this yarn. My coworker said the shop owner said this would be enough for a little pair of fingerless mittens. So I'm thinking I have a pair of fingerless mitts. Let's find them under my pile of stuff over here. I do. I have a pair of them here somewhere. There. So a long time ago, actually I have no idea how long ago it was, I knit a pair of these. So these are the Spiced Cocoa pattern, and this yarn that I knitted in is a yak blend that I absolutely love. I wear these all the time, but I thought this might be a good pattern for these as well. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I also went on to the Instagram page for this yarn company, and they had some really cute pictures of some little cabled fingerless gloves, and so maybe one of those it might be. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to knit a little pair of fingerless gloves for myself or if I'm going to knit them and gift them back to the coworker who bought me this yarn, because I think that's what I'm going to do. We'll see. I was so touched that she bought this yarn for me and she didn't ask for anything from me. Normally when someone finds out you're a knitter, the first thing they say is, will you knit this for me? Will you knit that for me? And so this was just a sweet, thoughtful gesture, and yeah, I think these are going to be knit into a little pair of fingerless gloves and then gifted back to the person who gave them to me. So we'll put that on the list. I was pretty tempted to use this for the liner for this hat that I was just talking about, because that would be really soft. But I think I don't know. I'll think about it. I think it's more kind-hearted to give it back as a gift than to immediately put it into a hat for myself when I already have so many pairs of hats. But that is it. That is stash. That is knitting for the week. Why don't we move on to my life here in Germany? For life in Germany this week, I have been pretty busy, as I mentioned before, just exhausted and sick and running around, and my day job sent me very briefly back to the US. Is it still my day job if I'm on night shift? I guess my paying job, because YouTube and knitting are not paying any of the bills in this house. Let's be honest, knitting is just a giant money black hole that I don't want to talk about. But yes, so flew back to the US for my work. I was on the ground in the United States probably for, about 12 hours, and then back on the plane to Germany, which was exhausting. And then in the middle of that, I was transitioning to night shift. And of course, I came home from that trip sick. So on the plane ride home, started feeling pretty sniffly and snotty and all of those good things. And then just absolutely was wiped out when I got home. So that is unfortunate. But thankfully, before all of that madness, when I was still feeling well, I had the chance to head out to one of the Christmas markets here in Germany, because come on, it's Germany. You gotta do Christmas markets. That's like the thing, right? It's honestly, when I Google like vacation in Germany, it's the first thing that pops up is come during the December time period and do all your Christmas shopping. So I went over to Wiesbaden, kind of outside of Frankfurt. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic from where I live. And got to walk around that Christmas market. It was recommended to me by one of my coworkers because she said that's where all the stuff is. So some of these Christmas markets are more food and drinks. Some of them are more like rides for children, like Ferris wheels and things like that. And she said this one was the one that had the most shopping. And I was really excited to buy lots of local goodies and treats to stuff into the packages to mail home for Christmas. I've done a terrible job of that. The packages are completely boxed up and ready to go, but have not gone into the mail yet, which means there's no way they're gonna make it home by Christmas. But I had fun, and you know, it's the thought that counts, right? So let's just, you know, I'll pop in some video and some photos here of the beautiful Christmas markets in Frankfurt. Now, while I was there, I had a fun little stop. So another YouTuber you all may know, maybe you don't, is Kikos, and I will kind of link her in below so you can go find her YouTube channel. But I have mentioned her before because she does her videos. She records two, one in English, one in German, and they're posted on her two channels. And it has been one of the things her German channel has been one of the ones I've been listening to help me learn all my knitting terms and just get better at speaking German. And so I was super excited while I was over in Wiesbaden to just step in and visit her shop. I was incredibly nervous. I don't know if you know this, a little bit of an introvert. I get very anxious about new situations and new places and meeting new people and how is it going to go and how am I going to feel about the whole thing. And I was so relieved when I walked into her shop because she is just so warm and so inviting. She's exactly like she is on her YouTube channels, and you know, invited me to pull up to the table, and I found myself sitting and knitting for, I feel like I was there for an hour or two. Oh, I almost forgot I bought yarn there too. I'll go get that yarn. But yeah, just a wonderful day is what I ended up having, is a beautiful, wonderful day of sitting and talking knitting and being in a new place and exploring. If you have not watched any of Kikos' videos, she does record them from her shop. However, the shop does not do any online ordering. So if you want to visit her, you're going to have to come in person and check out her shop. I bought a sweater's quantity of yarn, and it was probably the most economic sweater's quantity of yarn I have bought in a while. So let me grab that and I'll show it to you. Okay. While I was out retrieving yarn, I found this guy on the floor. I think one of the cats pulled him off the wall because he usually lives over here on the wall. You guys may remember this. This was from Zaurik Knit, who sells some of her crochet creations in a shop called Teleforge in Okinawa. I've mentioned her before, but I just happened to catch him on the floor as I walked back here. So anyway, while I was at Kikos' shop, check these guys out. So during one of her episodes, she was talking about the opal yarn and how they had a special run of yarn that was all sourced from Germany. So sheep from Germany, wool from Germany. And so that is actually what kind of brought me into her shop. I was excited to see if I could get some of that yarn. And I thought, well, let's just do a whole sweater's quantity of it. And the reason I bought it, let's see, there is a book. It is called... I sure don't remember what it's called. I'm going to pop it in right here. But it is a book of top-down sweaters. They're all knit top-down, but they're all various constructions. So it's like raglan, set-in sleeve, yoke style sweaters where the patterns are all knit for various gauges. So you do your gauge swatch and then follow along on the pattern, whatever your gauge is. So basically they have a set of instructions for, you know, sport weight, worsted weight, Aran weight, etc. And I have been thinking for a while about doing every sweater in the book, so I could just kind of play with different fits and styles and see which ones I like better. And so I thought I should buy some yarn that's pretty affordable for that, because yarn is pricey sometimes, right? And I'm thinking about knitting several sweaters in about the same yarn, same weight, so I can compare how they fit and how I like them. This was an idea I've been thinking about. I don't know how far I'll get on it, but either way, this will become a lovely sweater for myself. It's in my colors, can't you tell? My mom always makes fun of me because I like gray and brown and black and like kind of muted colors. So she's always kind of making jokes about how bright and colorful my wardrobe is. But this yarn is just absolutely soft and lovely. It's a sock yarn, and I think the sock yarns make some of the best sweaters because they just hold up really well. They're a little forgiving if you forget and accidentally chuck them in the wash once. I wouldn't recommend it all the time, but you can kind of get away with it. So super excited to have this in my stash, and I am looking forward to casting on this project. I'm not sure when. I've kind of got the cast on explosion happening where I want to knit all the things all at once all the time, and I don't know where to start, so I just kind of sit here petting my yarn and like gathering yarn and thinking about what I can cast on. My desk is just like this huge mess of yarn right now. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all I have for you today. I always get asked what I'm wearing, and I'll just like head this one off at the pass. This is not a knit sweater. This is just a commercial sweater that I bought from Old Navy. I've been eyeing it for a while because as a knitter, of course, I'm attracted to knitted items. I think they're beautiful. And I always have that conundrum of, should I buy it or should I knit it? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? And during my trip to the US, my luggage was lost. So I had just packed an overnight bag with one change of clothes so I could fly home in a fresh pair of clothes. And that luggage did not make it back. It has not yet reached me. It will eventually, I hope. So I finally had an excuse. I've been, like I said, eyeing this one for a while, thinking about buying it, and now they lost my luggage, so I had an excuse to go buy a nice soft sweater, and it is super soft. This looks kind of like one of those Icelandic or like let lopey patterns, but it's not. It's not knit in that kind of itchy let lopey wool yarn. It's in a very soft synthetic fiber. Yeah, my luggage I'm actually a little bit sad about because there's definitely a hand knit sweater in there, my Sunset Highway, which is also a cashmere blend. So I am hopeful that that will find its way safely back to me as soon as possible. It also has my nice electric toothbrush in it. So yeah, I don't know which one I'm more upset about, the hand knit cashmere sweater or the, toothbrush. All right, guys, that is everything I have for you today. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Haxton Knits. Now that I think about it, I have not posted anything to Instagram in ages, and I have been doing a terrible job of maintaining the Haxton Knits Ravelry group. You know what, just don't even go over there because I have no idea what I'm doing. We are professionals here, and yeah. You guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.